Before you even think about your next haircut appointment, I need you to hear this, because there's a haircut sitting in almost every salon lookbook right now that stylists keep recommending to women over 50, and it might honestly be doing more harm than good. It's not the haircut you're picturing either. It's not something dramatic or obviously wrong. It's actually one that looks perfectly nice in photos, which is exactly why it's so easy to fall for. But once you know what to look for, you're going to start spotting it everywhere, on women at the grocery store, in magazines, even possibly in your own mirror. Stay with me until the end, because the third haircut on this list is the one hairstylists themselves avoid getting, but rarely tell their own clients why. And stick around for the very last one too, because it's the mistake almost every single woman makes without even realizing it, and it has nothing to do with the actual haircut itself. Hey there, and welcome back to Ageless Style Secrets, the channel dedicated to helping women over 60 look polished, current, and completely confident, all without needing a stylist on speed dial or a budget that keeps you up at night. If you're new here, welcome. I'm genuinely glad you found us, and this video is a perfect place to start because today we're tackling something that affects literally every woman watching: your hair. Hair is one of those things that quietly shapes how put together we feel every single day, more than most of us give it credit for, and getting it right can honestly change how confident you feel walking into a room. And if you're already part of this community, welcome back. Grab your coffee and get comfortable, because this one might make you rethink your next salon visit entirely. Before we dive into it, I want to ask a small favor. If this is your first time here, please subscribe before we get started. This channel is built specifically for women exactly like you, and you don't want to miss what's coming after this. Then, if you find this helpful even a little bit, tap that like button. It takes 2 seconds, but it helps this video reach more women who need to hear it. And drop a comment telling me your current haircut, or the one you're considering for 2026. I want to know exactly what you're working with right now, because honestly, your comments shape a lot of what we cover in future videos. Alright, let's get into the very first haircut, because it might be more common than you think. Haircut number 1, the blunt short bob with no layers. Let's start with the one that catches almost everyone off guard, because on paper it sounds classic and safe. The completely blunt, one-length short bob, cut straight across with zero layering. It photographs beautifully in a salon mirror under perfect lighting, but the moment you step outside into real life, real movement, and real angles, it can start working against you. Here's why. A blunt cut with no layers creates one solid heavy line around the face, and after 50, when facial structure naturally softens, that hard heavy line can actually emphasize fullness along the jaw and chin rather than complementing it. Think about the last time you saw a photo of yourself from an unflattering angle in a cut like this. Chances are, it wasn't your face that was the problem, it was the hair sitting like a straight solid frame around it, cutting off at exactly the width point you'd rather soften rather than highlight. That's the quiet issue with blunt cuts. They were originally designed on younger models with different bone structure, and the same shape simply doesn't translate the same way as we age. The fix isn't avoiding short hair altogether, it's asking your stylist for soft internal layering, invisible layers cut inside the shape that keep the outline looking clean from the outside, but remove weight and add movement from within. This one adjustment alone can completely change how youthful and soft a short cut looks, without changing the overall length or shape you already love. Ask specifically for point cutting along the ends too. This is a technique where the stylist cuts tiny vertical snips into the very edge of the hair rather than one clean horizontal line, and it softens that heavy blunt look almost instantly. Haircut number 2, the over-texturized pixie. Next up, the choppy, heavily texturized pixie cut, the kind with lots of piecey, spiky texture throughout. This style gets recommended constantly because it looks edgy and modern in photos, but there's a specific issue that rarely gets mentioned. Heavy texturizing removes so much weight from the hair that it can actually make finer, thinner hair, which becomes more common after 50, look sparse and see-through rather than full and textured. Here's something most women don't realize until they're sitting in the chair with a cape on. Texturizing scissors, the ones that create that piecey chopped effect, work by literally removing strands of hair, thinning the density in whatever section they're used on. On thick hair, this can look wonderful, edgy, and full of movement. But on hair that's already naturally thinning with age, adding more texturizing on top of natural thinning can create a see-through, patchy effect, especially right at the crown where most women already notice the most change. What actually works so much better is a soft, rounded pixie with texture concentrated only at the very top and crown, while the sides and back stay a little smoother and fuller looking. This creates the illusion of thickness and volume exactly where you want it, rather than fighting against hair that's naturally becoming finer with time. It's a small distinction, texture placement rather than texture everywhere, but it makes a massive visual difference. If you already have a pixie and you're noticing thinning at the crown, ask your stylist about reducing texturizing shears specifically in that area at your next appointment. You'll likely see a noticeable difference immediately. Okay, quick pause, because I want to know something from you directly. Out of the 2 haircuts so far, have you had either one of these done before, the blunt bob or the texturized pixie? Type 1 or 2 in the comments right now, and if neither applies to you, just type neither. I genuinely read through every single comment after this goes live, and it really helps guide what we cover in upcoming videos. And again, if you haven't subscribed yet, now is the perfect time, because we cover topics exactly like this every single week, all designed to help you look and feel your absolute best without spending unnecessary money at the salon. After you subscribe, go ahead and like this video too. It really does help more than people realize. YouTube pays close attention to engagement like this, and it's genuinely the reason this channel is able to keep growing and reaching more women just like you. Okay, let's keep going, because haircut number 3 is the one I promised you at the very beginning. Haircut number 3, the uniform shoulder length, safe cut. Here it is, the one stylists themselves quietly avoid but rarely explain why to their own clients. It's the shoulder length cut with absolutely no shape, no layering, no face framing, just one uniform length all the way around. It's often recommended because it feels like the safest possible choice, low maintenance, versatile, easy to style. But that complete lack of shape is exactly the problem. Hair with zero structure tends to just hang flat, and flat hair with no movement can actually add visual heaviness to the whole face, especially around the lower half. Stylists sometimes recommend it simply because it's fast and low risk for them, not necessarily because it's the most flattering option for you. It's genuinely one of the quickest cuts to execute, which is part of why it gets suggested so often, especially during busy salon hours. What works significantly better is the exact same shoulder length, but with soft face framing layers around the front, and gentle graduated layering starting around the chin area. This creates lift, movement, and shape, while still keeping all the length and low maintenance appeal you were originally looking for. If your stylist seems hesitant or says it will take more time, that's actually a good sign you're asking for something more tailored to you specifically, rather than the fastest possible option for them. Haircut number 4, the heavy, blunt full fringe. This next one seems harmless, even youthful, a heavy, completely blunt full fringe straight across the forehead. And on certain face shapes, at certain hair textures, it absolutely can look wonderful. But for a lot of women over 50, a heavy blunt fringe cut in one solid straight line can actually shorten the appearance of the face and draw much more attention to the forehead area than most women realize until they see it on camera or in natural daylight. There's also a maintenance factor rarely mentioned. A heavy blunt fringe needs trimming every 3 to 4 weeks to maintain that crisp line, and as it grows out even slightly, it can start sitting awkwardly right in the eyes, which many women find frustrating within just a couple weeks of getting it cut. The far more flattering alternative is a soft, side-swept fringe, or a wispy, slightly textured fringe that blends gradually into the rest of the hair rather than sitting as one hard line. This softer approach still gives you that fresh, updated feeling a fringe provides, but without the harsh, aging line that a completely blunt fringe can sometimes create. It's a subtle shift, soft blending instead of a hard blunt edge, but it makes an enormous difference in photographs especially, and it also grows out far more gracefully between salon visits, saving you both time and money in the long run. Haircut number 5, the overly processed MOM cut, with heavy layers everywhere. Now here's one that might genuinely surprise you, because it's often marketed as the exact opposite of aging, tons and tons of layers cut throughout the entire head, every single inch texturized and thinned out. This is sometimes called the classic mom cut, and while the intention behind it is usually to add movement and remove bulk, overdoing it can backfire completely. When there are too many layers cut too aggressively throughout the whole head, hair loses its ability to hold any real shape or fullness, and can end up looking thin, wispy, and honestly a bit tired looking by the end of the day. Many women report this exact cut looking wonderful the moment they leave the salon, styled and blown out by a professional, but becoming noticeably flat and shapeless by the second or third day of regular wear at home. The better approach is what many stylists now call strategic layering, fewer, more intentional layers placed specifically around the face and crown, while the underneath sections stay a little more solid and full. This gives you movement exactly where you want it, without sacrificing the overall fullness and body of your hair. When booking your next appointment, try using that exact phrase, strategic layering, not all over layering. It immediately communicates to your stylist the kind of shape and fullness you're hoping to maintain. Alright, one more quick check-in before we finish up, because I really do want this to feel like a conversation and not just me talking at you for 20 minutes. So far we've covered the blunt bob, the over-texturized pixie, the flat shoulder length cut, and the heavy blunt fringe. If you've had any of these done and regretted it afterward, drop a quick comment and just say, "Been there." I promise you are absolutely not alone. Almost every single woman watching this has had at least one haircut regret at some point. And if this video is genuinely giving you value, this is your reminder to subscribe if you haven't already, like the video if you're finding it helpful, and leave a comment down below. Those three things together are honestly what keep this channel alive and growing every single week. Okay, let's finish this out with the last two, because they might be the most important ones on this entire list. Haircut number 6, the overly processed, dry-looking shag. The modern shag haircut has made a massive comeback recently, and when done well, it looks effortlessly cool and youthful. But there's a version of this cut that keeps getting recommended without enough consideration for hair health, an extremely heavily layered, choppy shag cut on hair that's already dry, color-treated, or naturally more fragile, which becomes more common after 50 due to changes in scalp oil production and years of styling or coloring. When this cut is done on hair that's already lacking moisture and elasticity, all those choppy layered ends can start looking frayed and straw-like within just a few weeks, rather than effortlessly tousled the way it's intended to look. The fix here isn't necessarily avoiding the shag entirely, because it truly is a beautiful, current style. It's making sure your stylist evaluates your hair's actual health and moisture level first, and possibly softening the layering slightly, along with committing to a proper deep conditioning routine at home to keep those choppy ends looking healthy rather than damaged. Haircut number 7, copying a celebrity cut without adjusting for your own hair texture. And finally, the mistake that ties this entire list together, and honestly might be the most important one of all. Walking into a salon with a photo of a celebrity haircut and asking for that exact cut, without any consideration for your own natural hair texture, density, or growth pattern. What looks absolutely stunning on someone with thick, straight hair can translate completely differently on finer, wavier, or more textured hair, even if the underlying shape and length are identical. This happens constantly, and it's honestly one of the biggest sources of haircut disappointment women experience. You walk in with a photo you love, the stylist replicates it as closely as possible, but because your hair behaves completely differently than the celebrity's hair in that photo, whether it's curlier, finer, thicker, or grows in a different direction, the end result looks noticeably different, even when the technical cut is nearly identical. Instead of asking for an exact replica, the smarter approach is bringing that photo in as inspiration, and asking your stylist specifically, how would this shape need to be adjusted for my hair texture and density? This one simple question shifts the entire conversation from copying to customizing, and customizing is genuinely the secret behind every haircut that looks effortlessly good rather than slightly off. It also opens up a much better conversation with your stylist, one where they can use their actual expertise rather than simply trying to recreate a photo as closely as technically possible. So there you have it, 7 haircuts that get recommended constantly, and the small, simple adjustments that make each and every one of them so much more flattering. None of this means you need to avoid short hair, or fringes, or layers altogether. It simply means walking into your next salon appointment with the right questions and the right awareness, so you walk out with a cut that genuinely works for you, not against you, and one that actually holds up in real everyday life, not just under salon lighting. If this video helped you see haircuts a little differently heading into 2026, that is exactly why we create videos like this every single week. So here's what I'm asking. If you haven't already, please subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications, so you never miss a new video the moment it goes live. After that, Give this video a thumbs up if you learned something new today, and drop a comment telling me which haircut on this list surprised you the most, or which one you're currently rocking right now. Share this with a friend who has a salon appointment coming up. She'll genuinely thank you for it. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the very next video.